Hey, you're watching Vinyl for Miles, your best resource for music and audio reviews. Today we're taking a look at Life is But a Dream, the latest, anticipated, long-awaited album from Avenged Sevenfold. Stick around. Hey guys, welcome to the channel. My name is Michael. What we do here is audio gear, music gear, vinyl, pretty much anything having to do with my hobbies. I'm gonna bring you content. If that's something you're interested in, hit the subscribe button and bell notification while you're at it so you don't miss out on my future videos. We're looking at Life is But a Dream. It's 2023. The last album that Avenged Sevenfold put out was 2016. It was The Stage. Now, if you look at their discography, starting from Sounding the Seventh Trumpet all the way up to The Stage, you're going to notice a huge shift in their musical styles, their formats, the lengths of the album, lengths of songs, so on and so forth. They're not a stranger to changing things up. So I am a fan. I'm not a super fan though. I've followed them since Waking the Fallen and City of Evil in 2005. So this latest album, having that huge gap, everyone was wondering, what are they going to put out? And what they put out is weird. It's super weird. A lot of people are trashing the album online. Some people are praising it, but I've seen a lot of trash. So I thought I would put together a review, give you my opinion, and try to figure out what they were doing with this album and did it hit or was it a miss? All right, so the themes on this album are life and death. If you go through the album, I think this is intended to be a concept album, kind of rock, prog opera, not quite sure. It's a trip. You think you found some consistency, a groove, and then it instantly changes. And I kind of like that they're doing that. They've never done anything like this before. So the opening track, it's called Game Over. It starts off with this amazing kind of classical guitar intro. You think, oh wow, this is very beautiful. This is gonna be a slow song. They immediately hit you with some thrash. The vocals are stacked, so that means that when he's singing, he's doing multiple takes over his own vocals, which cause chaos. It makes you very uncomfortable, and it honestly sounds a little bit annoying, but I kind of understand what they're going for. If you listen to Burn It Down off of City of Evil, they kind of do the same thing on some of the verses. And then again, it breaks into something more chill and mellow, and then we get some odd time vocals over a 4/4 beat, which just really disorients you. So I think the intention of this first song was kind of like bringing you into the world of this album that they're, giving you, causing chaos, causing confusion, and then kind of bringing you back down towards the end of the track to introduce you to their next song. And the next song that they bring you into is called Mattel. This is definitely one of my favorite songs off the album. It starts off with some awesome chugging, a lot of digga 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 on the guitar. Has a solid beat to it. When it comes in with the vocals, the drums do some really odd stuff, very technical odd stuff, which I really dig. It's very bare bones when the vocals come in. There's not a whole lot of processing done on the vocals on this, and this album is all over the place. Sometimes you'll have a vocoder, sometimes you'll have auto-tuning when it's intended, and then the other times the vocals are very raw with very little reverb or delay. The fact that M Shadows almost couldn't sing anymore, a lot of doctors told him like, hey, your vocal cords are so messed up due to an injury, you're probably not gonna sing. It's pretty cool that on this song, Mattel, he sings pretty well and he also screams on it, which is great. So around 2:53, they go into this crazy breakdown. I don't know what the hell's going on. The drums are doing some crazy stuff on the cymbals. Right after that, they go into this crazy epic solo that's half synth, half guitar, and from my understanding, Sinister Gates is doing some like guitar plugins and he's hooking into a synthesizer, so like 90% of the synth that you hear on this album was actually played on a guitar. The song builds up, it has a climax, and it comes right back down to get you into the next track. And the next song is Nobody. This was one of their lead singles. They've released it. This caused all kinds of controversy between their fans. People hated it, people loved it. They're like, what the hell is this? I'm giving my pure honest opinion here. I don't think the vocals were executed the best they could be on the verses. This is an example of the vocals being extremely dry, and I really wish that they would just saturate them or put some kind of effects on it to fill it in. So the chorus does have some really cool arpeggios on the guitar, so you do get a little bit of technical guitar playing on some of the verses and on the chorus. The song keeps droning on, and then finally we get one of the most epic guitar solos I've heard in over a decade. And this isn't the only long, extremely technical guitar solo you're gonna hear on this album. So after Nobody, we go right into We Love You. This was the second single that they released. I don't know what the fuck is going on with the intro. I don't know if I like it or not, honestly. It's weird and it sounds off time. It sounds like the vocals are getting chopped up in the editing process and he's singing off key. It's just, I think they're trying to, again, get you off of what your bearings are and kind of get you lost and confused again and then bring you right back into a really simplistic verse, which he's repeating a lot of things, more of this, more of that, more of this, build, 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 build. He's saying the same stuff over and over again. It's very repetitive. Kind of reminds me of Rob Zombie, some of the guitar riffs that you have in here. Very straightforward. And then after they do the simplistic riffs, they bust into this crazy thrash feel with some like yelled vocals, not necessarily screaming, but he's kind of yelling, gives it a lot more energy. And then again, they bring you back into the more, build, build. It's kind of cheesy, it's kind of annoying, but I get what they're doing, and I've seen a lot of memes online, so if they were intending to have this song trend, and they've accomplished that. I mean, it's all over the place. Then finally, at the end of the song, they end it with some very nice acoustic slide guitar. I can appreciate that. I can even hear the preamp hum from the microphone that they're recording into. So this is raw, this is really them, not overproduced. It's a lot of emotion in it, and I'm actually glad they ended the song this way. It's kind of a theme. They build up, they climax, and they bring you back down into the next song. Which the next song on here is one of my favorite songs on the entire album, Cosmic. So this song starts off kind of trippy, really mellow. It builds, it builds, it builds, and then within 2 minutes, it goes into another epic guitar solo. This is one of my favorite guitar solos on this entire album, and one of my favorite guitar solos that Sinister Gates has ever pulled off before. It's technical, it's full of emotion, and it ends and transitions into this beautiful piano section. This really reminds me of Dream Theater. It reminds me of a Jordan Rudess piano kind of bridge that they did on Scenes to a Memory, if you guys are familiar with Dream Theater. It bridges very well, it's very trippy, and we go into some more emotional, heartfelt vocals. And the vocals here really remind me of California from Mr. Bungle. If you've listened to that album, Mike Patton has a way of singing his verses and his phrases that are very, very similar to what M. Shadows is doing here. So they end with the strings on this one and it takes us into the next track, Beautiful Morning. Now Beautiful Morning has a huge epic opening to it with some really nice open chords, kind of reminds me again of some Dream Theater stuff. Then they go right into a Alice in Chains riff. It's basically Them Bones. It's the exact same progression, it's kind of odd times. The vocals that he's doing is very much a tribute to Lane Staley, a tribute to what Alice in Chains did on that song. And the pre-chorus, he's saying, you walk on water, but the water swallows you. And then around 3 minutes into this song, they go back into that Mr. Bungle California feel. Then once they get through these nice vocal passages, kind of dreamy sounding instrumentation, another hard-hitting guitar solo. And this solo is whack. Like it's not whack in a bad way, it's whack as in like, what in the hell is he doing on that guitar? Like I wanna watch him do what he's doing. He's getting some weird sounds. It's all over the place. It's super wild and I love it. Now, the rest of the song is just a lot more of the same, what you heard earlier. So if you like the more structured Avenged Sevenfold, you're gonna love Beautiful Morning because they do come back. They don't get too lost in the weeds. They pull you back to the same hook. You know, you think you can walk on water, but the water swallows you, that kind of thing. And then it ends with some more beautiful Dream Theater-esque piano. That takes us into Easier, which the best way to explain this song is if Alice in Chains had a baby with Daft Punk. That is exactly what you're getting. There is some really heavy, simple guitar riffing in this, which I think grooves and matches really well to the kind of vocoder synth sounds that they're using on this, which I think matches the song. Again, they're trying to mix it up, not do the same crap over and over again. Then around like 2 minutes and 42 seconds, we get another guitar solo, which this one's more bluesy, which is nice. So we had those technical, metal solos that we had earlier in the album. We had that really weird left field, distorted, wacky guitar solo that we had in the previous song. And now we get some kind of like Stevie Ray Vaughan inspired licks in there. And not only is it blues inspired, but there's another synth playing along with the guitar, which I'm sure he's just layering on some kind of analog synth through a processor to match what he's playing. But it pulls off really well. I kind of enjoy the transition on this song. And again, we're following the same formula, even though this album's all over the place. Build up the climax, bring you back down, ends nice and calm, brings you into the next song, which is G. This song is crazy. Now, I don't know where the hell this song came from, but if you've heard Liquid Tension Experiment, I mean, if you've heard any kind of fusion jazz prog, that is what this song is. It does not sound like Avenged Sevenfold. It sounds like the musicians got together. They were really heavily influenced by some crazy out there prog, and they're like, why don't we just put together the most complex out there song we can and put it on the album? That's what it sounds like to me. Now, a lot of the vocals on here, again, there's more Mike Patton influence on here. Like M Shadows has to be a huge Mike Patton fan. Mike Patton is known for doing those types of vocals like this. Oh yeah. Just doing weird spoken word in the middle of a song. Dog Fashion Disco's another band that does that a lot.
You gotta be kidding me.
Now this song also appears to have a female vocalist on it. I think it's a female vocalist or it's a male with a very female falsetto. I can't really tell. I think it fits good. It's nice to bring in some fresh vocals on this album. I mean, we're past the halfway point on the album now, so it's kind of cool. They're changing things up. They threw in this weird fusion funk prog song that has all these weird wacky influences, but I think it goes together well. And I was listening to this while I was working out, and it actually gave me a little boost of energy listening to this till the very end. At the very end too, we do get some nice vocal melodies from M Shadows. At the end, he basically goes, "We're gonna save someone." Oh, fuck. I love it. I love it. It's so freaking weird. All right, then we go into Ordinary. Now, these last three songs that kind of string together, G, Ordinary, and Death, that spell God. So, I mean, they're getting a little clever here with their acronyms, but G-O-D. This one's Ordinary. The O is in parentheses. Again, another Daft Punk, Get Lucky. That's pretty much this whole song. Not really a huge fan of it until you get halfway through the song and they start kind of moving a little away from the carbon copy of Get Lucky and doing their own thing on it. Then we do get some more synth solos on this song. It's more or less a filler song for me though. I do like the clean guitars, the tone on here is great, the bass. The vocoder that they're using is authentic. I think they're using an actual vocoder, not using any software. So I mean, overall, it's an okay song, but it's more or less a filler song for me. Then we finally get to Death. You think that when you get to the death portion of this album, again, this is about like birth and death and life, all kinds of stuff on this album, the themes on it. You would think when you get to the last song called Death, this would be the heaviest, hard-hitting song on the album, but it's not. It's a transitionary song into a beautiful piano ballad that comes at the very end. This is like lounge Avenged Sevenfold, if you can imagine that. I would never, ever think they would make a song like this. If you were to come to me in 2005 in high school when I was listening to City of Evil, right, or Awaken the Fallen, and I'm used to those very metal songs, and you were gonna tell me in 2023 this band's gonna put out a lounge cinematic song that ends with horns and strings and transitions to a beautiful piano ballad, I would say, you're freaking crazy. There's no way in hell this hard, heavy-hitting metal band's gonna do that crap.
A few things I want to say and leave it on the fireplace.
But they do it, and it comes off actually really well, because they've already hit the hard spots, right? They've already screamed on this album. They've already gone, you know, to the wacky jazz fusion section. They've pretty much done everything they possibly could, except do something like lounge, which they do pretty well. Again, it's kind of a filler song. I wouldn't sit here and hop on this and listen to this single song. I wouldn't do that. I would do that for Beautiful Morning. I would do it for like Nobody, but not this one in particular. I think this one fits as a whole. You have to listen to the whole album and go between the songs without skipping to really get what they're doing on this one. And then finally, Life is But a Dream is the very end. We hit the end of the album. The whole thing is you transitioned, you died, and it's just this beautiful kind of ragtime piano ballad that just lets you drift off into the afterlife, because that's how I took it. So there you go, that's the entire album. So what were they trying to do with this? Well, I watched a very, very long interview with the band. They said they owe it to their fans to do something different on every album. Now with the stage, they started to get more proggy, but they still had that really Avenged Sevenfold rooted metal upfront guitar tone on there, right? This album is the complete opposite of that. They're experimenting. They have the guitar not in the front, it's more in the back. They have a lot more bass up front. There's a lot more experimentation. There's some odd times. There's weird vocal melodies on here that almost sound out of key, but they're not. They kind of fit somehow. I totally get what they were doing. And I think as a cohesive piece, if you listen to this album front to back, it's a home run for me. It's a great prog album. Now, if you're just a metalhead used to like Iron Maiden, Metallica, those influences that they've had previously on their previous albums, you're gonna hate this. You're not gonna like it. You have to be a prog fan. I think you have to understand the themes that they're trying to convey, and you have to listen to it as a cohesive piece, front to back, to really let this hit home. All right, guys, that's my review of Life is But a Dream. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, leave a comment below. What did you think about this album? What do you think of all the other major media outlets trashing this album? Do you think it's fair? Do you think the album really hit home? Are you guys a fan of prog? I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, I'm Michael. Thanks.